Rain whispers like a secret on the edge of the night. A lone figure stands beneath a flickering streetlight, shoulders bent beneath invisible weight. The world around him hums with indifference. Cars passing, lights bleeding into puddles, city sounds echoing like distant memories. He's not running anymore. He's just stopped. The storm outside mirrors the storm within. Each drop a memory, each thunderclap a regret. Once, there was laughter in his house, sunlight in his eyes, purpose in his steps. Now, only silence remains. He watches his reflection in the water, distorted, fragmented, unfamiliar. It's not death he's afraid of, it's living like this. The kind of brokenness no one can see, but everyone feels when they look away too quickly. The kind that begs for meaning in a world that offers none. Morning breaks reluctantly like a wounded thing crawling toward light. The room is dim, walls lined with dust, and half-packed boxes. A cup of coffee sits untouched on the table, steam long gone. He stares at nothing, eyes fixed on the echo of what used to be home. The clock ticks, cruel and steady, as though reminding him of everything time has taken. Grief has a way of reshaping the air. Even silence feels heavy here. In the corner lies a child's toy car, still bright, still innocent, mocking the emptiness it left behind. He closes his eyes. The world outside moves forward, but his heart hasn't taken a single step. Some wounds don't bleed anymore. They just whisper, over and over, that healing might never come. A knock breaks the stillness. Not loud, but sure. He hesitates, as though sound itself is a question he's forgotten how to answer. When the door opens, she stands there, quiet, unassuming, eyes soft but ancient. She doesn't introduce herself. She simply says, "It's time." No context, no reason, just truth. Something in her voice disarms the part of him that built walls. He wants to send her away, but he can't. The air shifts, like light refracted through broken glass. And though he doesn't understand, he knows this moment isn't random. Some encounters are mercy disguised as mystery. They walk through the park he once visited with his son. The trees whisper memories in every rustling leaf. She doesn't ask questions, doesn't fill the air with empty words. She simply walks beside him. He can almost hear laughter echoing from somewhere deep inside the wind. Every step feels like opening a door he swore he'd never touch again. She glances at him, not with pity, but understanding. Some hearts recognize the same kind of brokenness. Beneath a leafless oak, he stops. The world grows still. "Why me?" he asks quietly. She answers, "Because the broken are the ones light can pass through." That night he dreams again. Only this time, it's different. The scene is the same, his son laughing, running through fields of gold. But when the light shifts, the boy stops and looks back. "Daddy," he says, "don't stay where the pain is." He wakes with tears, not of sorrow, but something new. Something like release. The world outside hasn't changed, but something within him has cracked. And through that crack, a single beam of dawn seeps in. It's small, fragile, barely there, but it's real. And for the first time, he lets himself believe that maybe, just maybe, broken doesn't mean beyond repair. Morning arrives like a whisper, timid but certain. The world outside his window glows faintly with rain-washed clarity. She sits across from him, silent, sipping tea, as though the universe itself has no urgency. He can't tell if she's real or some figment born from exhaustion, but something in her stillness commands trust. "You're searching for answers," she says finally, "but the truth doesn't live in words. It lives in surrender." He laughs, a sound too broken to be joy. Yet she doesn't flinch. Her gaze remains steady, as if she sees the storm behind his eyes and finds beauty in its ruin. For a moment he feels small before her serenity, like a child standing before sunrise, unsure but wanting to believe it means something. They walk along a path lined with rain-soaked leaves. The world hums softly, every sound dampened as though creation itself is holding its breath. He speaks little. She listens with the kind of attention that turns silence into sanctuary. Every few steps she pauses, to touch a branch, to breathe deeply, to remind him that life still moves even when hearts stand still. He envies her peace, her certainty. "How do you do it?" he finally asks. She smiles faintly. "I stopped asking why, and started asking what now." The answer stings, not because it hurts, but because it feels true. Somewhere beneath the ache, he feels a pulse. Weak, but alive. She leads him to an old lake house. Abandoned, windows cracked, roof bowed under years of neglect. Inside, dust floats like memory. The air smells of forgotten summers and rain. "This was my father's," she says, her voice steady. "He built it with his hands. When he died, I stopped coming. I thought it was ruined. But when I looked closer, I realized the foundation still held." He studies the broken walls, the warped floorboards, and feels something stir. Maybe the house isn't the only thing that can be rebuilt. Maybe he isn't either. The wind outside sighs through open windows, carrying with it the faint scent of pine and promise. Night settles slowly. They sit beside a small fire outside the cabin, its glow painting soft gold across their faces. The silence between them isn't empty. It hums with unspoken truth. He finally says, "I used to pray. I thought if I was good enough, nothing bad would happen." She looks into the fire, eyes shimmering. "Faith was never meant to keep us safe," she says. "It was meant to keep us close." The words linger, heavy but healing. The flames crackle, and for the first time in years, he feels warmth that isn't fleeting. He doesn't speak again, but he doesn't need to. The night understands. At dawn, mist curls across the lake like breath on glass. He stands at the edge of the water, barefoot, the chill grounding him. She stands behind him, silent witness to a fragile rebirth. He whispers something only the wind can hear. A farewell, a forgiveness, maybe both. The sky ignites slowly, streaks of pink and gold stretching across the horizon. In that still moment, he realizes healing isn't an event. It's a journey walked in faith, not certainty. When he turns to her, she smiles. "You're beginning to see," she says. The sunlight catches the water, and for a fleeting instant, it feels like the whole world exhales. The road back to his old home feels longer than he remembers. Time has weathered everything. The fences, the windows, the memories. When they arrive, the house stands in silence, hollow as a ghost. He hesitates at the threshold, unsure if he's strong enough to step inside. Dust clings to the air like unspoken words. He can still hear echoes of laughter bouncing off these walls, like a melody trapped in time. She doesn't push him forward, she just waits. Sometimes healing begins not with courage, but with permission. To face what you've buried. He breathes in, trembles, and crosses the line between past and present. Each creak beneath his feet is a heartbeat from another life. He steps into his son's room. Time is frozen here. Tiny shoes still lined neatly by the wall. Crayon drawings still taped to faded wallpaper. The air feels sacred, untouched. He kneels by the small bed, running his hand across the blanket, whispering apologies that crumble into silence. She stands quietly at the doorway, saying nothing. Some grief doesn't need words. It just needs witness. For a moment, The weight of absence feels unbearable. Then he notices sunlight breaking through the blinds, illuminating the corner of the room where a toy car rests. He remembers the laughter, the running feet, the "I love you" before bedtime. The memory hurts, but it doesn't destroy. It reminds him that love, even in loss, never dies. The air outside feels too thin to breathe. He stumbles into the yard, anger breaking through the dam of years. "He was just a boy," he shouts toward the sky, voice raw and trembling. If there's a God, why didn't he stop it? His words echo into the emptiness, swallowed by wind. She stands beside him not as comfort, but as truth. "He didn't take your son away," she says softly. "He held him when you couldn't." The words cut deeper than pain. They strike somewhere sacred. He falls to his knees, not out of defeat, but surrender. The earth beneath him feels warm, alive. The storm within begins to quiet, just a little. Night finds them sitting by a small fire behind the house. The flames flicker against the ruin of the place, painting shadows like ghosts on the walls. He holds the old photograph again, creases deeper now, but the smile unchanged. She watches as he lowers it toward the fire, hesitation trembling in his hands. "Letting go isn't forgetting," she says gently. "It's remembering without chains." The flame licks the edges of the photo, light dancing in his eyes. For the first time, he doesn't feel guilt. He feels gratitude. For the love that was, for the years that mattered, for the chance to live again. As dawn edges over the horizon, he walks through the house one last time. Every room breathes memory, but no longer pain. When he reaches the front door, he pauses, turns back, and smiles faintly. The silence feels lighter now, almost kind. She waits outside, watching him step into the morning. He leaves the door open behind him, not as abandonment, but invitation. Sometimes the soul doesn't heal by closing things. It heals by allowing light to enter where darkness once lived. The wind stirs through the empty halls, and the sound is almost laughter again. He returns to the lake at twilight, carrying only silence and a small shard of broken glass from his old home. He kneels beside the water, holding it up to the fading light. His reflection stares back, fragmented, uneven, distorted. It feels fitting. Every edge tells a story of something that once cut too deep. She approaches quietly, her footsteps barely disturbing the earth. "You've been trying to fix what was never meant to be perfect," she says. He studies the shard again, the way light bends through its cracks. For the first time, he doesn't see what's missing. He sees what's left. The reflection shimmers, and for a fleeting second, he sees his son's eyes looking back at him, full of peace. They sit beneath a willow tree as night gathers. The branches sway like a veil, shielding them from the world. He exhales, voice trembling. "I blamed myself for everything, for not being there, for not saving him." She listens, no judgment, no interruption. When he finishes, she whispers, "You've carried guilt like a shield. It kept you safe from feeling, but it also kept you from healing." He looks down, realizing how tightly he's held onto pain, as if letting go would mean forgetting love. The tears come, slow and steady, not as weakness but release. The wind moves gently, like grace in motion, and he feels something sacred begin to lift. He places the glass shard on a nearby rock, staring as moonlight bends through it. "It's just broken glass," he murmurs. She shakes her head. "No, it's truth. It reflects what it receives." The words settle deep. He picks up the shard again, tilting it until the light floods his hands. The reflection no longer frightens him. Instead, he marvels at how even a broken thing can hold beauty. He finally understands. His pain isn't something to erase, but something that can shine differently when surrendered. The light catches his tears, and they sparkle like stars. For the first time, he smiles. A quiet, trembling smile that feels like sunrise. Days later, he sits in a small workshop, surrounded by fragments, glass, wood, and metal, salvaged from the ruins. He begins piecing them together, unsure what he's making, only that he must. His hands tremble at first, then steady as rhythm takes hold. Every shard finds a place. Every crack becomes part of the design. She watches quietly from the doorway, light spilling around her like approval. What once felt meaningless now becomes creation. The brokenness he once hid becomes art in motion. In this silence, something sacred happens. He is no longer fixing the past. He is building the future from its pieces. The mosaic stands complete, a window of shattered pieces reborn into color. When the light hits, it forms no single image, just harmony from chaos. He stands before it, breath trembling, eyes glistening. It's imperfect, he whispers. She smiles. That's why it's beautiful. He turns, but she's already walking away, disappearing into the morning mist. The room glows brighter now. He steps closer to the mosaic and sees faint reflections of moments past. His son's laughter, his own forgiveness. For the first time, he doesn't look away. The broken glass no longer cuts. It shines. The morning feels heavier without her presence. The air still hums with her absence, quiet yet full. He walks through the workshop where sunlight still paints the mosaic in colors that seem to breathe. But she's gone. No note, no goodbye, just space where she used to stand. He stares at the mosaic again, unsure whether it's complete or simply waiting. The silence presses down, almost unbearable in its purity. Yet within it, something whispers, not in words, but in warmth. He doesn't understand it, but he feels it. The reminder that not all departures are loss. Some are callings, gentle nudges toward strength we didn't know we had. He finds himself drawn back to the lake, alone this time. The water mirrors the sky in perfect stillness. No wind, no ripple. He sits on the familiar rock, the shard of glass now part of the mosaic, gone from his pocket. For the first time, he doesn't feel the need to speak. Grief has lost its language, and in its place rests quiet gratitude. The world breathes with him, not against him. He hears nothing but his heartbeat and the whisper of leaves. The silence that once terrified him now feels like company, a sacred companion instead of a reminder of absence. Healing, he realizes, doesn't roar. It hums. As he sits by the lake, a sound breaks through the quiet. Faint, fleeting, like memory turned real. Laughter. High, bright, familiar. He opens his eyes and sees no one, only ripples spreading across the water where none should be. It doesn't frighten him. Instead, he smiles. He knows that laughter. It belongs to a boy who once ran barefoot through the fields, chasing light. He looks toward the rising sun, and for a moment, he swears he sees a silhouette running along the shore. Small, weightless, radiant. He doesn't chase it. He simply watches, eyes soft with knowing. Some things don't return to be seen. They return to remind us we were loved. He kneels by the water, not to pray for change, but to thank the silence that carried him through. No words come, only breath. In that breath lives everything he's learned. Surrender, forgiveness, love. He realizes that prayer was never about asking, but remembering. The wind brushes across the lake's surface, and sunlight glitters like 1,000 small amens. He feels closer to his son now than he ever did in grief, because now, love isn't a wound. It's a bridge. He closes his eyes, And for the first time in forever, his heart doesn't ache. It sings quietly, reverently, the song of one who has come home to himself. When he stands, the lake gleams brighter than before. The world looks the same. The water, the trees, the quiet. But something fundamental has shifted. He walks away slowly, not escaping anymore, but carrying light with him. Every step feels grounded, whole. The silence follows, not as shadow but companion. As he reaches the crest of the hill, he glances back one last time. The sun crowns the horizon, its reflection dancing across the water. For the first time since the beginning, he doesn't need a reason to keep going. He just knows he will. Broken things, he's learned, don't stay shattered forever. They become windows for light to pass through. The days begin to blend into rhythm. Hammer, light, silence, breath. The sound of creation fills the air again. He's back in his workshop, though it feels different now. Every motion carries peace instead of pain. He gathers broken glass, wood scraps, and rusted metal, his hands remembering the grace of making something from nothing. For the first time, the silence isn't heavy. It hums with purpose. Each piece he touches seems to answer an invisible calling. The same hands that once trembled with loss now steady themselves with love. He doesn't rush. He doesn't plan. He just builds. Because creating beauty from brokenness has become his way of saying, "Thank you for another day." As the mosaic grows, the walls of his workshop turn into a kaleidoscope of color. The glass pieces, once sharp and discarded, now shimmer with new purpose. He pauses often to watch how light transforms each fragment differently. It reminds him of people, how everyone carries a different hue, a different crack, a different way of shining. He smiles quietly. The lesson no longer feels distant or abstract. It's alive in front of him, breathing in color and reflection. The pain that once broke him has turned into something that builds. Beauty, he realizes, isn't found in what's whole. It's found in what's redeemed. Word spreads quietly about the man who rebuilds with color. Neighbors begin to visit, some curious, others searching for something they can't name. He doesn't preach or explain. He just works, and somehow, that's enough. They begin leaving him broken items, old mirrors, shattered vases, chipped windows. One by one, he repairs them, embedding small shards of his own mosaic into each piece. He doesn't charge. He just smiles and says, "Now it shines again." The town, once gray and forgotten, slowly begins to glow with scattered light. Healing, it seems, has a way of multiplying when shared. He installs his final piece in a small chapel at the heart of town, the same one he once passed every day without looking. Now, he stands before its empty window frame, holding his mosaic. It's not perfect. Some cracks remain visible, but that's the point. When the light pours through, colors flood the pews, painting every face in warmth. People fall silent, not out of reverence for the art, but for what it represents, a reflection of their own brokenness redeemed. He steps back, tears rising quietly. He doesn't need applause. This isn't about what he made. It's about who he became while making it. When the light settles, he steps outside into the golden dusk. The bell from the chapel rings softly behind him. He feels a presence, faint but familiar, standing in the warmth. He turns, and though she's not there, he feels her. Mara. Her words echo through the quiet. You were never broken. You were being rebuilt. He closes his eyes, tears slipping down, but his smile steady. The town below glows with the reflection of his mosaic, and in that light, he feels peace. The kind that doesn't fade when the day ends. The kind that stays. The kind that was always meant to be found at the end of breaking. Morning unfolds over the town like the first day of creation. The mosaic window in the chapel catches the newborn light, scattering color across the earth. He stands alone inside, surrounded by hues that move like living fire. The glass hums as the sun rises higher, and the light begins to breathe. Not just on the walls, but inside him. The warmth floods his chest, filling every hollow space once carved by grief. He closes his eyes, whispering a thank you that feels too sacred for sound. The pain that once defined him no longer leads. It follows. Transformed, transfigured. In that glow, he understands. Some miracles don't arrive with thunder. They arrive quietly, like morning through stained glass. The streets awaken slowly, children's laughter echoing off walls washed in dawn. He walks through the town, greeted by smiles and waves. People carry small pieces of light, vases, mirrors, windows he restored, each shimmering with color. Life has returned here, and in it he finds himself reflected everywhere. The grief that once isolated him has become connection. A boy runs up to him, handing him a single wild flower, bright and trembling in the morning wind. "For your window," the child says. Elias kneels, smiling gently. "It already shines, kid," he replies. And as he watches the boy run off, he feels it, the circle closing, the story healing itself. He returns to the hill overlooking the lake, the place where grief first broke him. Now the air feels lighter, the water gentler, as if creation itself remembers his journey. He stands where he once fell to his knees and simply breathes. Every sound, every color, every heartbeat feels like a hymn. The reflection on the water no longer shows a broken man, but a whole one. Weathered, yes, but whole. He whispers his son's name once more, not in sorrow, but in gratitude. A soft breeze stirs the surface of the lake, carrying the faint sound of laughter again. Only this time, he laughs with it. As he turns to leave, something catches his eye. A shimmer by the tree line. The light bends, forming a figure cloaked in white. Mara stands there, unchanged yet otherworldly. Her smile soft, her presence luminous. He doesn't move. She nods once, her eyes saying what words never could. "You made it." Then, like sunlight dissolving into morning mist, she fades, not gone, but returned to where grace lives. He exhales, steady and sure. No tears this time, only peace. She wasn't an illusion. She was mercy, sent to remind him that heaven doesn't always wait beyond life. Sometimes it walks beside us until we can walk on our own. Later that day, he stands once more before his mosaic. Sunlight floods through it, spilling warmth over the floor in an array of living color. He steps closer, tracing one of the cracks with his fingertips. "We made it," he whispers. Not to anyone in particular, but to everything. The pain, the love, the journey. In the reflection of the glass, he sees himself not as who he was, but who he has become. A man made whole through grace. The world outside glows brighter now. Though, maybe it always did. He just had to learn how to see it. He exhales deeply, peace wrapping around him like light. The story isn't over. It's begun again, in color.